I'll be your host, Emmanuel Alea, CEO and founder of Alea Systems, where we build systems that build brands online and help e-commerce entrepreneurs go from $10K a month to $100K a month to $1 million a month in revenue without wasting a fortune on ad spend or working themselves to death to do it, so that they can finally pay themselves what they deserve out of their business. We do this because we have built our own e-commerce brands. We've done over $50 million in revenue for our own brands and our clients' brands in our agency, and we're just getting started. These systems that we teach, they work, they are effective, they're repeatable, they're scalable. They've worked for our businesses, they've worked for our clients' businesses, and they'll work for your businesses too. Welcome to Season 2 of the Alea Systems podcast, Journey to an 8-Figure E-Commerce Business. In this episode of the Alea Systems podcast, Journey to an 8-Figure E-Commerce Business, I'll be interviewing Chantel Powell, the founder and CEO of Playpits Deodorant. Her story is incredibly inspiring. In 5 years, she went from making deodorant in her kitchen to having a successful business with her product being sold in Target nationwide and a multi-million-dollar business. You'll hear about the origins of Playpits and how she was able to grow her business. She'll also talk about how she built a raving community of fans and supporters, which she calls the Under Army, and why she calls herself a scrappy CEO. She also has some great advice for aspiring business owners. Pay particular attention to when she talks about the importance of having a why when you're starting your business. And if you already have a business, she talks about delegating responsibilities and why that's crucial if you want your business to grow. I know you'll get a lot out of this conversation with Chantel, so without further ado, here's Chantel Powell. All right, welcome to Journey to an 8-Figure E-Commerce Business podcast. We're here getting the opportunity to talk with the marvelous, magnificent, fantastic, prolific Chantel Powell, CEO of Playpits. How are you today, Chantel?
I love that intro, man. You make
Oh,
me feel
good.
so amazing.
Good. Actually, I'd love
Thank
to continue. Do you mind if I brag on you a little bit?
Sure. Look, let
Let's
me
do
hear what
this.
you got to say. It's only been a few years you've known me through the
We've
ups
known each
and
other for a
downs.
while, and it has been a journey that I've appreciated. And for those of you that don't know why I gave such a magnificent, glowing intro, Chantel is one of the most impressive people I've ever met, and you guys are going to hear her story, and it is magnificent. It is magnanimous. It is wonderful. She is the CEO and founder of Playpits, where she makes deodorant for kids, and she literally just got back from being flown out to Bogota, Colombia, to hang out with Pharrell, Wanda Grant down there. She's got celebrities like Alicia Keys wearing her product. She's been interviewed by Gayle King on CBS. She was on The Breakfast Club. She's got Mr. Wonderful on speed dial from Shark Tank. She hangs out with him. She wins pitch competitions left and right. She's on Target shelves and is the category killer. She's winning in Target, beating out the likes of big brands like Dove and Secret. She's competing with them. They're trying to figure out what she's doing. And on top of all of that business success, she's raising a beautiful family, supporting her community at the same time through her business, is strong in her faith, and is building a multi-million-dollar e-commerce brand that she started from her kitchen sink. Chantel Powell, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
What's that?
it's so crazy, Emmanuel. It's so, like, the timing is so perfect. I don't know if you saw my post, but today is the day we launched
Wow.
Playpits 5 years ago in
Happy
my backyard.
anniversary. Wow.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
And what's
Today
amazing
is the
about that,
day.
even the way you said it, it's 5 years. That seems like a long time. That's dog years in e-commerce. Like it ages you. But actually 5 years is not that long.
Yeah, it's so crazy because when I look back at all
Mm-hmm.
we've kind of been through, and I posted about like
Yeah.
all we've survived, it's been a time, and it feels short, but then it feels long because you go through so one year, like you said, it's like dog years. Like 1 year is like
Mm-hmm.
7 years, and you go through the ups and the downs and the aging of it all. I just got my hair blown out, and I have new
Oh,
gray
yep.
hair
Mm-hmm.
because it really takes a toll. So no, it's been quite
I
a
can definitely
journey, quite a
relate.
journey.
It is something that's very different than going to school or having a job, being an entrepreneur. It is all the time, all encompassing, consistent. Like it's a journey. And yeah, it definitely ages you. So tell us, what has the journey been like?
The journey has been a beautiful
Hmm.
journey to be in. It's been, so often like I share the journey with other people because I know people are inspired by it because I'm inspired by it. It's one of those things that, the ups and the downs and the victories and the successes really just kind of motivate me to keep going on the days that it
Hmm.
seems impossible. And so it's been a beautiful journey. When I go back and look at the years and years of videos and pictures, it's just been a quite incredible thing to just be a part of, and to say that, I had the honor that God has given me this assignment to lead the charge on becoming, a CEO of a natural deodorant company. If you would have told me 7 years ago I would have been where I'm at now, I would have been like, what? I'm doing what? And so now to be doing that, and I don't, I never claim to know exactly what I'm doing. I never claim to know, to be perfect and to be experienced in it. But I just trust the process, and I learn, and I keep, moving
Hmm.
forward day by day. And so it's been
And
a,
that's
a
what
beautiful journey.
I really appreciate about you, that I don't think people get to see often enough. But you have learned a ton. You have figured this thing out. Because my big question that I'm building to is this, are you a business person? Did you go to business school, get an MBA? Did you have a family of entrepreneurs? Like, because when you look at your business, you're doing all the right things, right? Like you've got the marketing dialed in, you've got the product dialed in, you're meeting with all these executives and business leaders. You are a professional, successful businesswoman, and you know all the things. How did that happen? How'd you do it?
Yeah, no, I went to school for fashion merchandising. So I grew up and just wanted to dress the mannequins at Macy's, and at the times it was Hex. I grew up. My mother and my grandmother would go to the store every weekend, shopping for hours, and I would talk to mannequins, and I fell in love with their clothing and how they were dressed, and I called every mannequin Falola. So I would walk in and I'd be like, "Oh, Falola, I love your outfit today," and so
Mm.
I fell in love with fashion. And so I went to school for fashion merchandising, and then ended up starting a career in fashion by way of film and production, working
Mm.
at Tyler Perry Studios. And so, if you ask, and I did not come from a family of entrepreneurs. I'm actually a first generation entrepreneur, and I'm also a first generation college educated
Wow.
person in my family. So all of this, all of the things that I have figured out is just coming from a line of very resourceful
Hmm.
people. The women in my family are very strong, very resourceful, and just really know how to get things done. And I've just kind of taken that spirit and just taken it up a notch for, my family. But it's everything that I have. It's so funny. The other day I said, if I had another middle name, it would be Chantel Self-Made Powell, because
Hey,
literally I've,
yeah.
I've figured it all out along the way. I think in the true spirit of things, I'm really a hustler, and I'm really someone who just has a really crazy work
Mm.
ethic, in that there's nothing that, you put in front of me that I will back down from and say I can't
Mm.
do. I just will say, give me a moment, I'll figure it out.
Hey, I love that. Love that hustle, right? And so if someone's listening, they're like, I want to be an expert like she is in business, but I'm not. Maybe I shouldn't start, right? Like the people who have those doubts, how would you help them alleviate those doubts about getting started and getting going and jumping in?
I would say, how bad do you want
Mm.
it? I think it's just a matter of, like, it's never what you have and what you know and what you can do. It's all about that deep down, like that determination and that drive. And if you really have that hunger to go get it, and if you have that, like, there will be nothing that gets put in front of you to stop you from going to get it. Because, for me, like I said, I went to school for fashion, but that didn't stop me from launching an e-commerce brand, because I had the drive of staying up late at night after my 9 to 5 and researching on YouTube and Google how to, start an e-commerce brand, how to set up a Shopify store, how to, so it's just so, like, we live in a time where there's not much that we can't do, because we have so many resources really, like, right in front of us, on our phones, on our computers. And so many now is so many resources, as far as free programs and free outlets to get information, that, I mean, it's just a matter of how bad do you want it, and you go and do it.
I like the way you said that because I feel like And this is my opinion. I don't know if you share this opinion, but I'm gonna throw it out there because I feel like sometimes saying that a different way is this isn't for everybody. Like for some folks, if you don't want it bad enough, please don't do this. I try to tell people I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. It is that hard. Like it is a very hard thing. And if you're not ready for it, it's going to hammer you. So I'm curious, like as you were growing the business, is there anything that frustrated you or, I mean, we love our businesses, right? But is there anything that ever made you like, you know what, that's enough. I hate this. I'm sick of it. I'm done. Like the dark days.
Oh yeah, I have those all the time. I literally had a time yesterday where I was crying because I was so frustrated
Mm,
with the process. And to your point, I do agree. This isn't for
mm,
everyone, right? It's only for the people who are crazy
yeah.
enough. I really think entrepreneurship is for people who are like crazy and insane and really you have to I was talking to my neighbor and she's an entrepreneur and she was saying that you almost have to be addicted to the highs and the lows to really continue this journey. And so, you know, it's like getting a high. Like you love that rush of chasing that victory, but then when that crash happened, it's like you crash hard, but then you still manage to pick yourself up to go chase that high again. And so, yeah, no, it's not for everybody. I wouldn't, like you said, I wouldn't wish most of the stuff I go through on my worst enemy because it's just not it's not always an enjoyable journey, but it's always a rewarding journey. So yeah, do I have days where like I just be like, man, F this? Yeah. But I think that deep down inside, I know why I'm doing it and it stops me from ever really putting in the towel. I may say like I give up. I quit. I'm, you know, like, but I know it's too, like, I'm doing this for my kids. My kids are watching me, right? And so when I started this business, this was a way for me to teach all three of my children that when you have an idea, it's really about if you're willing to put the work in to make that idea happen. Now, I didn't know what the work was going to be. And I didn't taught myself a lesson, right? But at the same time, now my family, like I even on this journey, I've even brought along my dad,
Mm,
who he works for the government, never thought about being an entrepreneurship in his life. But now he is someone who is so invested in the vision that he's now being educated by TV shows and different people. And he's calling me, telling me advice, you know? And so it's too many people now on this journey with
mm-hmm.
me that push me to keep going. So quitting is really, you know, I have days where I cry and I kind of, you know, have my moments, but quitting, like, it's too many people kind of on this journey with me that help me stay in the game.
And that support system, that's what I'm hearing. The support system is crucial
Yeah.
to help you keep going.
Absolutely, absolutely. The support system is
Mm-hmm.
everything. Support system and a village of people who are willing to help you and not only like help you in your business, but like literally like be a shoulder for you to cry on. I'm grateful that I have an amazing husband. He's like,
Mm.
you know, my person that I can vent to, I could cry to. He's gonna wipe my tears. He's gonna pump me up. He's gonna put on some good music to cheer me up on those days. So yeah, it's all about your support system.
Amazing. And I'm interested because the you were successful even before this, right? You mentioned working for Tyler Perry Studios. You were a stylist. You worked for Viacom, BET. You've done big things. You were in productions, right? And a lot of folks, especially in previous generations, were like, "That's a good job." What made you decide like you got this good job, you got a career, you're moving up, you got the family, but you're gonna be an entrepreneur? You know, what attracted you to that?
I think deep down inside, I always had an issue with authority. And so I did love my job. I love the work that I did. I love dressing people. To this day, like when I go somewhere, like I'm always like doing the most. And I always feel like people are like, where does she come? Like, why she got all that on? But that's the fashion girl in me, right? So I never shake that. I always love creating moments with clothing, right? And so that's just in my DNA. But I also think that on the journey of working for other people, working for somebody like Tyler Perry, I was able to see like what this one man was able to create with his vision. And every day we would walk into the studio, he had a quote on the building door that said, a place where even dreams believe.
Mm.
And that was something that it would like, I would literally read it almost every day. And so that taught me work ethic. So I feel like everything on this journey of headed to entrepreneurship, working for other people, gave me the tools and the, not the know-how, but the grit of what it took to get here. So like I learned my work ethic at Tyler Perry Studios. And then when I left there and I worked at BET, I learned the structure
Mm.
and the professionalism it took, because when I was an executive assistant, never in my life have I ever been an executive assistant. But once again, I'm resourceful and I can figure things
Mm-hmm.
out. So literally the VP that I was supporting, she was traveling and I was able to learn how to use Outlook, how to schedule meetings, how to
Mm-hmm.
do all the things that I was really supposed to do, know how to do when I got the job. But that taught me like how to, structure your day, how to answer emails, how to write an email, how to reach out to someone. And when you have a disagreement, how to say it in an articulate way, because in true honesty, I'm very rough around the edges before those days. And even still, like I'm still rough around the edges. But it's one of those things that I feel like my experience working for other people prepared me to be this CEO that I am now. And I'm still doing a lot of work to continue to be a better CEO. But I just think I always bucked the
Mm.
system and I always loved freedom. I love the ability to do what I want and kind of, dream and execute on those dreams. And so yeah, that's really how, I think I got here. And I think also when I was at BT, I was laid off. And the management that pushed for the layoff, one of the comments that was made was I had too much power in my position. And when that got back to me, it frustrated me and it kind of like angered me to a place where I was like, there will never be a day that someone is able to dictate me getting a check. And so that like deep down inside, I think also like just fused that fire and that drive within me. And so, it's just a lot of
Yeah.
things that was mixed together to kind of make this fiery CEO I am now.
Wow. Talk about motivation. So you
Yeah,
were,
yeah, a lot of motivation in this little thing.
yeah, right. And so then did it immediately work? Did you go straight from that and like, you know what, I'm gonna do this entrepreneurship thing, and then bang, Play Pitch was born and took off? Or was there some, trials and tribulations?
No, you know what? Year one, I was working at
Mm-hmm.
BT, and it was during the time that I was able to work from home because BT had sold the DC building, and it was a thing about relocating to New York. I knew I didn't want to relocate to New
Mm-hmm.
York, so I was able to work from home for like a year, then finally got laid off there. And I worked for like I didn't have a job for like a few months, and then I got a call to work with my best friend as a costume designer on a TV show with Robin Givens on OWN Network, and it was produced by Will Packer. And so that was an 8-month
Mm-hmm.
show, and I was like super excited to do it. So then I went back into the entertainment on sets, and so that was one of those things that was my like dream job. And I did it all while still running play pits. So I was in Atlanta, my husband was in Maryland, and we were still running play pits. And so after that job ended, I told my husband, I was like, okay, look, because things were like play pits was just growing and continuing to grow. And we had like at this point hundreds of customers. And it just was like one of those things that I was like, you know what? I know if I gave this business 100% of my time, then I could really make true traction. And so I made a deal with my husband. I was like, all right, look, so give me 1 year where I'm just 100% focused on play pits. And I think I can supplement my income like by the end of that year and make this a 6-figure business. And that's what I was able to do. And
Wow.
so that was 2019. And I've been, working for myself since then.
Nice. And so what is the story of Play Pitch? Can you take us through from 2019, kind of the story from there to now? Pharrell's flying you out talking about come visit me in Bogota. Chantel, 5 years.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, Play Pits was started because my son at 6 years old smelled like a man one hot July 2017. And he got in my car and it literally changed my life.
Mm,
I knew it wasn't, I knew I didn't want to put antiperspirants on him. So I went looking for a natural deodorant, only to discover that there was nothing on the shelf that I felt like Cameron would wear every day. It was super boring, super natural, super crunchy, and like a 6 year old wasn't checking for it,
mm,
right? And I needed this child to wear this thing every day. So when I was a little girl, I remember that my grandmother would pat baking soda under my arms. And so
mm,
every black mama
mm,
or grandma got baking soda in the back of the refrigerator
mhm,
to absorb odor.
mhm,
So I had some baking soda in the house, and then I had some coconut oil, and then I had some
mm,
cornstarch, and I mixed that all together, and I added an orange essential oil to that, mixed it up, and it was a paste at first. So I put it like in this little jar, and I mixed it up and it was a paste. And so I introduced it to Cameron and I added orange essential oils because he loved the smell of orange. And I knew if I could convince him, like, you can smell like this all day versus what you smell like yesterday, he would wear it. So that's what I did. He went to camp in football practice, came home and literally was like, okay, mommy, so look, I told all the kids at camp about this deodorant you made me. So can you make it for everyone at camp? And it was like 100 kids at the camp. And I was like, Cam, no. At the time, I was working at BT, and I'm like, no, I'm just going to make this for you. This a me and you thing, like, pipe down. And he looked at me and he was like, but mom, you can make this for everyone. And so he, in his mind, he was saying all the kids at camp. But when he said everyone, it was like that light bulb. I saw other parents who had the same problem as me. I saw other kids that were just like Cameron that wanted to be able to play on a hot summer day unapologetically, not hold back from that fun, but be fearful of being funky. And so I was like, okay, Kim. So on that night, I went down this deep dive, really searching to see if it was any natural deodorants for kids. And I really didn't find anything. And so then I also knew I had a certain, flair to me that I was like, if I do it, I know I would do it so different than what these other companies can do. And so that's how Playpits was born. And so we launched in my backyard at an Easter egg hunt on March 31st, 2018. So it took me 9 months to birth Playpits. And I often say that Playpits is one of my other children because it literally was 9 months to, like develop, test, brand, and all the things. And then I birthed it on March 31st, 2018. And so from there, at first, initially, of course, people that knew me and people that knew of this product within my network supported. And then the information just kind of traveled with people saying like, hey, check out this natural deodorant because it really was something that people loved. And so that's kind of the start of Play Pits, and this journey to getting from that day all the way up to where we are now has just been a lot of waking up every day and just doing something, waking up every day and being bold enough and having the audacity enough to just, really push forward, even on the days that we made $0. I mean, I remember, social media, like I have a video when the boys and Kiana are talking about like follow us. We're trying to get to 100 followers,
mm,
and now we have like 60 something thousand followers. And so,
mm,
it's just really just been an organic push of our supporters. And you know what I call my people, but I'll tell the
mhm,
people who don't know. But my supporters are called the Under Army because there isn't a conversation about natural deodorant that's going on that the army of Play Pits is not in the chat like, hey, you better check out Play Pits. And that's really what has helped to catapult this business to where it is because our supporters are a force. They're not regular at all. They are true supporters. They love the product. They love the journey. They love the story. And I think also they connect because it's such a relatable story, but I've shared so much of the journey. They remember when I was packing orders on the living room
yep,
floor to now being able to walk into a Target and pick up my product and seeing my children um, experience that. So I think it's just something that I've taken hundreds and thousands of people on this ride with me. And so that's Play Pit's story in a nutshell.
Magnificent. And so I'm curious, that not curious, like I'm so impressed, right? Like that is one of the things that immediately drew me to you, to the brand, to the family. Like you have done an organic strategy that is the most incredible, right? Like it is as impressive as the product is, as impressive as the brand is, your community is 10 times as impressive, right? Because you have fostered that. Can you talk? And I've always wanted to just sit and just chat with you about how you did that. Was it intentional? What are the systems you put in place? Because it's not easy to manage an organic social media presence like yours. Because I know you guys be getting on live and doing game shows, every week. Like it's not just sell product. Like you're building a community where you guys play together, and there's adults there, there's children there. You're going live. You guys have meetings all the time. You're doing events with people. You're meeting people one on one, right? It's a lot of effort. What are your systems for organic and
Yeah,
community?
I think, in the beginning, before I was able to work with an amazing Emmanuel, like I didn't have any money.
Mm,
So the only way that I could connect with people was through free social media, and kind of show, like, really it was one of those things that, like, I had this product and I wanted people to learn about the product. So I just would pop out my phone and take a video and show the product, show the process of making the product, show the process of us going to the post office, shipping the orders, letting people know, like, hey, your orders are on the way, because I didn't have email marketing and all of the fancy things. I had a Shopify
hmm
store, but I was still learning as a CEO, like how to have proper marketing strategies, right? And so I tell people all the time, I'm like super scrappy. I'm the scrappy CEO. I'm the one who, like I said, I didn't go to school for this. Everything that I've learned is like on the job experience. And so I've continued to evolve and elevate as I've grown. But this, in the beginning, the community was started because I didn't have no money to talk to people any other way. So I used free channels like social media, and then also events. We did that as a way because we knew that our product smelled like something. We knew that we had to
yeah.
educate people. So in order to do that, we had to be with the people. So I would find local events that were affordable for us, not super large events, but things that, and I remember like calling organizers, and let's say the event was like $1,000. And like, for me to make $1,000 in deodorant, my product is
Yeah.
$11. That's a lot of deodorant I have to sell. So I would call and be like, hi. I was always the person that was willing to like do something crazy. So I would be like, hey, I would love to be there, but is there any way we could waive some of the fees?
Mm,
Could I possibly come for $500? I'll make sure I,
mhm,
post about, like, so I would leverage the audience that I had to promote events that I wanted to be at, because I really couldn't afford to be there for the price that it
wow.
was. So I would do very creative things that a lot of people would probably be like, oh, I would never call and, ask to get a discount. Like, yeah, your girl was asking to get discounts,
hmm
even down to photographers. My first photographer, I didn't have the money to pay her. I would barter things. I would be like, okay, you do this, I'll post this, I'll do this. So like I've always been super creative, and I always had a way to manage and foster relationships with the people that I worked with. And so they were willing to do things for free because it was like, listen, when I get it, you got it.
hmm
But right now, I can't pay you. And so looking back, I've went everybody that has done free work for Play Pits, I've been able to engage and work with them and pay them because I know that they believed in us
Yeah.
before uh, I was able to compensate them. And that for me means everything.
Right. And it worked. And I love that idea of just ask, right? Especially at the beginning. You're not going to make enough of a profit. So just ask. But I am curious still. I mean, even with all that and the effort you put into social, you were able to get sales from it, not just community and post. Because I was just talking to somebody yesterday. They were like, I'm posting every day, twice a day, 3 times a day, but I'm not, and they're not getting any traction. They're not getting any attention. How did you make social actually be commerce, right? How did you transition it to, yeah, being able to make sales?
I think what I tell people is our biggest marketing is word of
Hmm.
mouth. So our product just kind of speaks for
Yeah.
itself. When people uses it, when people use play
Mhm.
pits, they literally like they love it. They love how it smells. They love that it keeps them fresh all day. They love the fact that it's not toxic and that it doesn't have harsh chemicals. And so, I think once someone use it, they then go spread the
Yeah.
gospel to their friends and family, right? And so that's really, social media was just a way for us to initially introduce people to the product. But once we got like 10 people introduced, then those 10 people would spread the news to 10 more people. And then that would just continue to multiply. And then we would use social media to share those
Yes.
reviews and the videos that people would make. And when I would see people and they would come up to me, to this day, people come up to me and they tell me about how much um, they not only love the product, but how it's changed their life. And for me, like, that's so humbling. Like, the product that literally I created and didn't expect to have this level of impact has now changed so many people's lives because they're suffering with body odor and all types of issues. And so when they say that to me, I'd be like, can I record you?
Mm.
And then I would take that video and then I would post that. And so it's really like, social media is not necessarily the way to get sales. Social media is just a way to verify that it's worth buying.
Mhm.
And so, really, you have to have a product that people need and a product that actually works. And so, I would really say, our product is what has helped to be the multiplier. Social media is just the amplifier of that amazing
Oh,
product.
I love hearing that because I feel like that's where people get into the trap of marketing. They think marketing will save the business. And it's almost like, no, marketing is just a megaphone. It amplifies the message. But if nobody likes the
Yep.
message or the product, like marketing is not going to help you. So people will be like, oh, social's not working. Let me run some ads. That's just going to make it
Yeah.
worse,
It's
you know?
Yeah, it's nothing, and I think for us, I was fortunate to understand that one, it doesn't, like, you could have all the fancy bells and whistles, but if you don't have an amazing product,
Mhm.
then it doesn't matter.
And,
And so that's what we've been able
And
to
that's a
do.
big question I have for you next. So then now we're talking, somebody listens to us, they're like, all right, fine. I'm gonna understand marketing is not where I need to focus to make more sales. I need to focus on the product. How do you know when you have a amazing product? How do you validate that there's demand for this thing that you made and you should build a business around it?
I think when people, like, when you test it on people and they give you that
Mm-hmm.
feedback, I tell people all the time, like, I tested my product on all of my family and friends. So
Mm-hmm.
I joke and I say, like, Playbiz has never been tested on animals, but it's been tested on everybody I know personally, right? And so before it launched, I would send my friends and family to work with samples and, places with these sample products, and they would come back and tell me, like, girl, that did not work. I smelled horrible today. And so I would use the negative feedback to tweak and to make adjustments. And so a lot of times people don't want to hear the negative feedback to make changes, but I've always welcomed the negative feedback, because if you tell me something is good, I can never make it great. I can never make it better. I can never, improve it. But if you tell me, like, yeah, I like this, but I don't like this, or this is great, but I don't like this. Now I have something to work towards versus having people to just tell you, like, oh, like, you have to trust your product testing process with people who, yeah, they know you and they love you, but they willing to tell you, like, girl, this is some
Mm-hmm.
trash. And so that's what I was able to do. I tested the product on people who told me the truth. And then even after launching the product, I made adjustments along the way with the formula because of customer feedback. When Play Piss first came out, the color was, it was like a yellow, like a really bright yellow, because I was using a different shea butter. And so now, I'm still trying to make the product better. There are still things that I'm trying to adjust because of the customer feedback. And so you always got to be open to that negativity. And I know a lot of times in business we take so much personal, because it is our babies, but we have to be willing to make the adjustments and make changes because it will make us a better product.
And how would you coach someone who's listening? They're like, look, all right, I get it. I made a product and it's not really resonating in the marketplace with marketing. I'm going to focus on improving the product, but I need to make money now. Like, how do I, and you want me to now start just refining, testing, that's time and I got to make money. How would you coach
Yeah.
somebody in that scenario?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, what is the initial problem that you're
Mm-hmm.
solving? And how can you speak to that with what you have now? And then, if there's some adjustments that need to be made, one thing that Play Pits always did was it always eliminated odor. Like, yeah, you may, the color may not been the color you wanted it to be, or yeah, it may not, been the texture that you wanted it to be, but it's always gonna kill that funk.
Mm-hmm.
So when I market it, I'm always talking about that. Like, I'm always talking about the fact it's going to keep you fresh all day. I'm always speaking to the problem that my current product solves. And then on the back end, I'm always making changes to tweak and to adjust things to make sure that I can fix the problems that I have.
And this is why I'm grateful. So anybody listening here, like Chantel has done so many things right. And this is what we teach. This whole season 2 of the podcast, the goal is to be able to actually talk to people who are practitioners, who are doing the things that we all need to do that just work, that are tried and true. Whereas season 1 was all about teaching and showing everybody what those systems are. And so literally what we just described, if you want some specific systems and techniques to help validate, listen to what Chantel said, but also go through episodes 1 to 3. I go in depth about how to validate demand for your product and high value problem. You start with the pain point. What is the problem that you solve? And then work to find a solution for that market. Because if you just make a product, that whole idea of if we build it, they will come, you'll crash and burn. It doesn't happen. I
No.
know you've seen
Yeah,
that, right?
no.
You've seen people try that.
Yeah, because I think everybody, like we just talked about a little earlier, like everybody, this is not for everybody.
Mhm.
I made a mistake one day and told someone that we made $20,000 a month,
Mhm.
right? Selling Play Pits. And it was just in a conversation, and I was trying to ask about something else, but I had to kind of share that information. Like, and this was years ago, where I was like, oh, our monthly sales are 20,000 a month and blah blah blah. That one thing of money trickled down to whatever time later that person had a business too,
Mhm.
right? And so, what I will tell people every time, if you start a business because of
Mhm.
money is your motivator, that's
Yeah.
not a successful business. Because if you don't have a problem, if you don't have a true passion, like I said, this is not an easy thing to do. So you chasing $20,000, but you really gonna go through $1 million worth of heartache.
Yeah.
You really gonna go through $2 million worth of
Yeah.
pain to get 20,000.
Mhm.
Like, it ain't worth
Yeah.
it. And so what you will find is the people who are starting businesses for money and they chasing a buck, they gonna 2 years in, 1 year in, because it's not the thing. Like, that's not enough to keep you going.
Mhm.
So, that's what I would say about that problem. Like, make sure you have a problem. Don't just come up with some product and say, I'm buying it from
Mhm.
China and I'm just, oh, one day I had an epiphany that I need to sell makeup brushes. And so now I'm selling the best makeup brush on the market. Like,
Yeah.
why? Like, what are you doing this for? What problem are you solving? It's 50 other different makeup brushes. So what makes your makeup brush special? And then why?
Mhm.
And what problem are you solving? Is your makeup brush better for sensitive skin? Is your makeup brush, for, like, I don't know, like, you have to have a why. But if you just want a makeup brush to have a makeup brush to make $20,000 a
Mhm.
month, it ain't enough,
Mhm.
because you're gonna go through so much heartache and pain and stress. And like, that 20,000, by the time it's all said and done, you're gonna pay all that and everything else, and you're gonna be sitting in the bed crying. So don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Just don't. Save yourself now.
Listen, save yourself now. If your why is because I want to make $20,000 a month,
It's not enough.
don't do it.
It's,
Just quit now.
yeah.
Find something else to do. And I don't even want to be a Debbie Downer about it, but honestly, I think so many people are chasing money, starting businesses to chase money, but they really don't have one, a product or service. Like, Emmanuel, I respect you so much because as a CEO, you've taught me so
Mm.
much. Like, we get on the phone and we talk for
Yeah.
hours because even in what you're great at is your systems and your
Mm.
processes. And that's one thing, like my systems and my processes for so long lived in my
Mm.
head. Like even when it comes to social media, I didn't have a content
Mm-hmm.
calendar. It would be one of those things I would wake up in the morning and be like, oh, yesterday I did this. Let me post this. Let me say this caption. Let me make this video and post it. I didn't have systems, right? And so you have people who have systems who are great,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you have people who are visionaries and are just true like go-getters that can kind of make it happen, but you have to
Both.
have both. And so I think that's when I got to the point where I was able to add people
Mm-hmm.
like you to the team to kind of have those systems, it elevated me, but I also had to have a
Mm.
product and I had to have a why and I had to solve a problem and I wasn't just doing it to make $20,000 a
And
month.
I feel like that's the immediate, like most people never really pass that point. Those statistics of 95% of businesses fail in the first 5 years, that kind of stuff. That's because those businesses didn't do what you just said. Have a why that's stronger than money. Have a problem that's that they solve for a large population with the affordable solution. Like those are the prerequisites. People are just trying to make money. And so I'm curious, once you got that and you were able to validate that demand, what comes next? Because at some point it got, you're doing $20,000. That's getting to the point where you can't do it yourself anymore. You can't just be doing all the things, the email, the making it in your kitchen. You have to hire a team. How do you make that transition from I'm a product maker and I'm selling it, I'm hustling, I'm doing all the things to now I'm a leader, I'm a manager, I have team.
Yeah. It's
Mm.
finding great people and allocating and making sure that you can one afford those great people, but two that you onboard people who are excellent at what they do. So one of the things that I say now is I am the only person in my company that has never done this before.
Mm.
Everybody else better be an expert.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else better be able to teach me something and better be able to empower me with information so I can be a stronger leader and so I can be a stronger founder and I can be a better CEO. And so, I would say start with what's important to you. I think for us, when we first started hiring people, it was who could pay for
Yep.
themselves. Manual,
Mm-hmm.
like
Right.
email marketing
Uh-huh.
can pay for itself. I had a list, but I just wasn't talking to
Mm-hmm.
them. And then okay, I started talking to the list, and now I want to elevate it. Now I want it to be more refined. I want it to be something that is more frequent and consistent and looks more polished. And so that was one of the things that I did. I had an assistant, and so I had someone that can help support me in all the things because I wear a lot of hats, and still to this day I wear a lot of hats, and I'm still trying to unload hats off my head. I was on a call the other day and someone was like, all right, well, we think you don't have to join this call. You can hand us the keys. And I was like, here are the keys. Don't crash my ride, but you could take these damn
Mm-hmm. Let it
keys
go.
because
Take it.
listen, I am ready to let it
Mm.
go to people that are experts and that can do things at a higher level than me. Because I recognize that I have the vision and I know how to create the product and I know how to develop and do all the things, but all the other stuff, I need people to support now. Like I need people who are ready to kind of take us to the next level. And I know it cannot be me. I can't still be the person that's editing videos
Mm.
and doing graphics and building the website. And like, I can't do all that stuff anymore.
Right. And that is a learned skill too, right? The art of delegation, right? Being able to delegate and let
Ooh, it's
go,
hard.
right? Because how did you get there? Because did you ever have that feeling of like, this is my baby, I'm not going to let it go and getting in their way of
Woo,
the team? How'd you get better at delegation?
absolutely. That is the hardest thing. I think it's hard one because I'm controlling in the
Mm,
way, right?
mm-hmm.
I also think that a lot of the stuff I do better than any I do it better,
Right.
right? But I had to be okay with like, all right, so do you want it done at, and I feel like this was one of our like conversations, Emmanuel. I
Mm-hmm.
think one day, this was a few years ago, it's like, do you want it done 100% or do you want it done by somebody else at 75%? Or and can you be okay with that? And I just had to get okay with like delegating and letting people report to me and not always knowing all the things. And I think when you start a business the way that I started a business, and what I mean by that is when you created your product, when you make everything and you sell everything and you do all the things, and then you get to the point where it's like, all right, now you're going to have to let go of. I literally was the person replying to all of my customer service emails, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I had to let that go, my assistant kicked me out the inbox
Mm-hmm.
because she would reply to the customers and then I would go back and be like, I didn't like the way that you replied. I would have said this. And she was like, lady, and I was like, well, I didn't, and
Mm-hmm.
so it would create this thing. But at the end of the day, like, I can't do
Yeah.
everything, and so I can't reply to every customer. But what I can do as a leader is tell you, like, I don't ever want you to say this to a customer. Don't ever do this. If this issue comes, do this. Don't what don't do. But I was like micromanaging, like, why did you say this instead of that?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It was like little petty stuff. And so I just had to kind of become more comfortable with releasing things and not being so, not thinking that I was the only person that could do everything and that everything had to be done perfectly into my standards. I had to kind of relinquish that. And
Right.
so it's still something I'm
It's
working
a
on.
tough one, and I'll be honest with you. That was what one of my mentors told me. Like I communicated to you is like, do you want this done at 100% your way a month from now because your plate's so full with all the other things, or would you like it to be done at 50 to 75% tomorrow? Right, because it's done, and then they
Right.
can improve it the next day and improve it the next day, and like let's just
Yeah.
work faster, smarter, not harder. And so, what is once you kind of were able to let it go and started delegating, what was the impact of that on just you personally, on your time and on the business?
Whew, my time is the most my time, my brain, the freedom of my brain to be able to think through the next things because it's so many things you think about and you have to kind of think through. And like me now not having to think about a customer's email coming
Mm-hmm.
through, now I could think about, okay, larger issues like targets POs coming through,
Yes.
if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like now I'm able to kind of delegate and then move up, delegate and then move up. And so as I'm doing that, I'm not going to say like I'm out here like stress free and kind of like unbothered, but my problems that I think through are larger and
Yeah.
bigger and high level. Whereas the other stuff, I let my team kind of figure it out. Like, y'all don't know where that is? Okay, holler at me when you figure it out. Um, because I'm not going to figure it out
Mm-hmm.
because that's what I have you all to do.
Right.
And so now I'm grateful that I do have that ability to not get on operations calls and figure out where all the ingredients are in the
Mm-hmm.
in the order chain and why it's not delivered and what's the tracking number for that. I get on and I'll be like, so when will it be delivered? And they'll say a date and I say, all right, well, from this day into that day, y'all figure all the other stuff together. Let's just make sure production don't stop.
Mm-hmm.
um and so that's really like where I'm at now, where I'm able to
Awesome.
kind of just be a bird's eye view down
Yeah.
versus in the weeds of everything. I'm still in the weeds a bit,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not in the weeds of everything
And I
anymore.
appreciate you explaining the benefits of delegation because I think as founders, like I am a self-proclaimed control freak. I'm definitely that way. I want to do everything my way, this way, and it has to be perfect every time.
because we
Because
do
we
it
do.
better.
I'm good at this. I started it. I made it. Like it's my thing. It has to be done my way, right?
My
But
way.
there's a benefit even to, especially to folks listening who are the creator, the designer type, who have birthed this thing, and they're the only ones that. I mean, you saw this thing in your mind that no one else could see, and you created it. So of course you're going to know it better than anyone else. But the benefit is being able to let it go is a prioritization thing, right? Because once you cross that step from you're the only person making everything to now you have team helping you make stuff, you end up with you lose sight of the business. I always love to say that, like, and we've talked about this, is you're actually hurting your business if you're in the weeds doing customer service. If you're doing something that
No,
someone else could do, sending out an email, doing customer service, making the product, being on operations call, like you mentioned, you're hurting the business because who else is coming up with new ideas in the business? That's
yeah.
you. That's your job as a founder. Who else is interacting with customers, finding out what their pain points are? That's your part of
Yeah.
the business. And if you're not doing that, you're hurting the company.
That's absolutely true. And I think, what I will say is because it is a slower walk to get there,
Mm-hmm.
right? Depending on your business and like your finances and play pits is like we don't have investors in the
Mm-hmm.
sense of like nobody ever. I don't have no big chunk of change that I'm like, oh, let me go hire this massive team, and so, and like I said, in a lot of ways I still feel like sometimes I'm still in the weeds, and so I kind of struggle to go. It's like I go down and then I go up to the bird's eye, and then sometimes I got to come back down. And so, but I do see the benefit of being able to not do all the things because it is hindering.
Yeah.
When you can't see past your right now as a leader, it stifles the business. And when you're stuck with all the little things, you can't really kind of dream new dreams and breathe new life into the vision that you had and kind of think of new ways to do things. And so that is something that, founder to founder, anyone listening that's a founder, like, is not easy to get to because also you may not have the finances to hire the people that can be those experts. But just know when you get there, sometimes it's worth sacrificing your own pay. Like for me, I didn't pay myself for almost 3
Mm.
years, but I paid my assistant. Like it was like one thing I am going to do is pay somebody else to do all this other stuff, and I may not pay myself at all. Like it's days where I feel like now I go to my husband, I'm like, can I have money for groceries? Because
You're right.
I make sure that my team gets paid because I know, the vision cannot go forward if I'm the person that's doing all the little things. And so definitely don't get stuck
Yeah.
doing all the things. I no longer do our graphics or all the little
Mm-hmm.
stuff that I used to do. I don't build our website
Mm-hmm.
anymore. I don't tweak our website. I give that to someone who that's what they get paid to
That's
do.
what they do. And they're just as good at it, even if it's 75%. Because you know what? You could do it,
I
but there's so many other things you
Yep, I
need to
could. I
do.
could do it if I need to
Yeah.
do it. And then sometimes you have to flex and do those things. What I
Yes.
will say is like not even flex, but like post
Mm.
fire, I had to, my team like went down to one.
Mm-hmm.
And so some of the stuff that happened during that time that had to get done, like I had to do
Yeah.
it. But I knew how to
Yep.
do it. I just didn't have the people to be able to do it for me anymore. So it doesn't take your ability to know how to away when you let somebody else do it. It just frees up your mind and your time from
And
doing
can
it.
we talk about that for a second? Is that okay? Talk about the fire. I know that was difficult. That was a
Yeah.
tough time. And when we talk about how hard business is, you don't even know what's coming. Or like we talk about how hard it is, but it's much harder because you have so little control when people try to make you think you have control. And you had a very significant thing that just one day you get a call. Well, can you talk about what happened and how you handled it?
What I say is in business you can dot every I, you can
Hmm.
cross every T, and something crazy will go
Yeah.
down. And so September 13th, 2022 at 3 a.m. in the morning, got a phone call. And it was like one of those things that you never want to get. And I used to like think about this. And it was like a worst nightmare. But I get this phone call and I'm like half asleep and I answer. And it's a frantic person on the phone. And they're like, Chantel, this is your neighbor. The warehouse is on
Wow.
fire. And I was like, Hold on, hello?
What?
And I'm like, what?
What?
And she was like, the warehouse is on fire. I just got the alarm, and I'm headed there now. And I say, okay, well, me and my husband are headed there now. So we pull up, like we're on the highway, we could see the smoke. We pull up to the building, it's a blazing fire.
Wow.
Something that I was not prepared to see. I don't know if I just thought it was a little campsite fire, but this thing was like raging. And so I just sat outside and watched the building that I was so proud of, the space that I was so honored to call Play Pits HQ, burn,
Mm.
and everything in it get destroyed. And so I literally left that day, was told I thought I would be able to try to go in and get some things. I left that day with a photo, a painting of me and Cameron that this 16-year-old girl did, and a label printer. And I had to beg for that because they told me I couldn't go in any other way. Like I couldn't go in to get anything else. I had just had like 7,000 units of product delivered, and I couldn't go in. And so I lost everything.
Mm.
And that night I just surrendered. I said, okay, God, I know you didn't bring me this
Yeah.
far to just be like, I'm gonna leave you now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna surrender and say, I know you got it, and I'm gonna wake up every day and I'm gonna do something. I don't know what I'm gonna do because I don't even know how to handle this, but I'm just gonna put one foot in front of the other. And so that was on a Tuesday. On a Wednesday, I happened to already have a meeting on the schedule with a 3PL company that could do my fulfillment because we did fulfillment in house. So we had that meeting. On a Thursday, I stayed in my bed and I
Mm.
cried all day.
Wow.
On a Friday, I did a Fox 5 interview about the fire outside of the warehouse. And I was like, this is torture.
Mm.
Like, why y'all want me to go? It's so
Yeah.
dramatic. Like, why y'all want me staying outside the burnt warehouse? Um, and then every day thereafter, I just put one foot in front of the other. And so 30, the next week, I did a pitch competition. I won
Mm.
$20,000. The next, I think it was 2 weeks later, I went to Black Ambition, and the Mighty Dream Forum, because I was a Black Ambition
Mm.
finalist, and I was a top finalist, I think top 5 finalists, and I won
Hey.
$50,000. Before the $50,000, the night I flew in to Norfolk, I had a call with the president and the CEO of Capitalist Fund,
Mm.
because we were a finalist for a popular vote grant, and I won
Hey.
$100,000. So literally in 30 days, I won over
Mm.
$170,000, and I just put one foot in front of the other every day after the fire. And it was true proof that, like, when you have that level of faith, like that
Yeah.
crazy faith, like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just gonna
Mm-hmm.
do. Um, Things will happen. And so God, he did what he said he would do, and I knew he would do. And literally on the way to the warehouse, something dropped in my spirit as my heart was pounding.
Mm-hmm.
My body was calm, and I'm like nervous about what I'm about to see, and like nervous about what was going to happen. And it was almost like God whispered, this is just part of your
Yeah.
story. And I said, and I acknowledged it, and I was like, okay, God, this is just part of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, I guess I always talk about like one day I want a book. And I joked and was like, all right, God, I guess my story wasn't exciting enough.
Mm-hmm.
So you just had to give me another thing to put in this book. And so yeah, that's really how, the fire thing has happened. And I've just continued to put one foot in front
Yeah.
of the other and figure it
And I
out.
appreciate you saying that and sharing your story with us about that, because it almost feeds into what you said at the beginning of the episode about entrepreneurs. We have to, in a way, be a little crazy, right? Because
You gotta be
yeah,
sick.
all the evidence pointed to it's done, it's over with. This isn't going to work. Literally, the warehouse with all my product, everything burnt down. Because you even said, what'd you leave with? Wasn't it just like a picture and it's what?
Yeah. It's a picture that was at the front
Mm-hmm.
entrance of me and Cameron, and a label print.
And that's it. A picture and a label printer is all that was survived the fire. And you somehow had the faith and the confidence to be like, this is not the end. We're not done.
Yeah.
My story's gonna keep
Yeah.
going.
I walked in the meeting the next day with with the owner of the 3PL, and like she had no
Mhm.
clue like what had happened. And so I walk in and I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?" And so we're having the meeting and she's like, "Oh, so where's your warehouse?" And I said, "Well, it was on Fulton Industrial, but it burnt down yesterday." And she was like, and I don't know if she thought I was
Mm.
joking, but she was like, "What?" And I said, "Yeah, it burnt down yesterday." Because I didn't open the meeting with saying like, "Oh my God, I had this fire." Like, it's business as usual.
Mhm.
How are you? This is what I need. And she was like, "Oh my God, how are you standing in front of me?" And I was like, "Girl, I didn't have nowhere else to go." Like, I'm a little orphan Annie at this point. The Playfist is homeless. I need to figure this out. And she was like, "You're like, basically, like, you're different. You're
Yeah.
crazy. Like, I would not be, in this meeting." And I'm like, I ain't had no choice. I had to, I had to keep going because one thing that I learned, and I feel like you learned this too,
Mhm.
Emmanuel. You remember when I put out that email about the warehouse, the kitchen was closing?
Mhm.
Were you around when the kitchen closed on accident?
Uh,
When we was moving into the
I
warehouse?
think so. Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
When we was moving into the
Mhm.
warehouse, I called myself telling people that the kitchen was closing, meaning my home kitchen was closing, and that we were moving into this warehouse. But I had a video that I wanted to let people see on a Monday and said the kitchen was closing on a Friday. So stay tuned to Monday. Well, everybody and their mama thought Play Pits was closing,
Mm.
and they went and they purchased all the deodorant, 20, 30, 40 deodorants at a
Mhm.
time. And it was the craziest thing. And that time showed me and taught me there are too many people relying on
Yeah.
my product. There were too many families that needed it and too many people that really depended on it. So I had no choice but to keep going. I had no choice but to wake up and go to this lady's office to say like, "Hey, can you pack these orders because I can't pack them anymore. I need a solution to get this product to my customers." So that's the level of like I take it serious, that I provide a product that people
I
need.
love it. And so that's the now we're getting into the third phase because we talked about the first phase, validating the product and building that community, which came later. Like that never leaves you. That's why it's building block one. And for those listening, that's episodes 1 to 3 of this podcast. And then you got to where you learn delegation and building systems and team. And if anyone struggles with that, episodes 4, 5, and 6 of this podcast are all about that. Now I want to talk about the third phase as we start to wrap up here. Scaling. You've got a team, you're delegating, you're scaling, you're able to bounce back from adversity. You've proven out demand. Now it's time to expand to other channels and start moving towards that 7 figure, 8 figure business. And I would love to hear kind of how you think about like things like paid advertising and going into retail, which you were actually before we get into that, you were very deliberate. I was always impressed with you, Chantel, for one main reason. Because I'd be like, Chantel, all your numbers are amazing. Let's just double revenue next month. Let's just scale the ads. Let's go. All these numbers are great. Grow, grow, grow. And you'd be like, Emmanuel, no. For like a year, no, no, no. We're going to keep where we're at. I'm going to refine the product. Right? Like, talk. How did you have the discipline? Where did that come from, or the decision to grow slow?
I think because I've never chased the money.
Yeah.
I've always chased excellence. And I never wanted to put us in a position where we couldn't deliver
Mm-hmm.
excellence. And so that's really what it is for me. And I literally remember those conversations. You'd be like, "Oh, they're doing great. Like, let's,"
Go.
and I'd be like, "No, Emmanuel, we're not gonna do nope, no,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
no."
Keep the ad spend where it's at.
But I think for me it's always been providing excellent product. And so I always also knew like the back end of things, like, I want to push the product like out and get it out, but I also knew that like I had a team that they could only pack with so many
Mm.
orders, we could only make with so much product. And so then also like it's always like this give or take of like what we can
Yeah.
do versus what we want to do and how to execute that in the proper time. And so one thing with launching in retail told me like, you think you ready
Yeah.
and then you get out there and you like, Oh shoot. So with retail, like it's you can't control
Yeah.
it like you can when you're just e-commerce. And so what happened with us is we launched in Target and literally our product sold out. And we thought that we were going to be able to have the product that we shipped. I think it was supposed to last us like 8 weeks, and we had a safety stock, and we had all these like things they taught us. Once again, you dot every I and you cross every T. I tell people all the time, launching in Target direct prepared me for that fire,
Mm.
because all the things that could go wrong or that
Yep.
you just didn't prepare for happened. And so it just emotionally made me stronger.
Mm.
And it made me a stronger leader to kind of problem solve. I pride myself on being a problem solver, but I was solving different types of problems. And so the problems that we had to solve is like how to make product faster, how to make more product, how to order more. And it just was one of those things that, like, you can't do it once you get in retail. You can't control
Yeah.
it as much. So being in e-commerce, you can say like, okay, dial those ads
Mm.
back or dial them up. Whereas in it's like gangbusters once you get out there in in that big retail where it's like the POs come in every week and you
Yeah.
like, how much y'all ordering? What?
Mm.
Wait, I thought you said you was doing it. And so I think the beauty of that is having that community, that customer base that understands and that supports, and that though you may not be pumping more money into your ads, organically they're still talking about your product and you're getting that free marketing. And so yeah, I would say that's why, because I've always just been motivated by excellence and not
Mm.
not
That's
money.
wonderful. What and because it's the right time, right? Because that's a real question. Is like it do it decently and in order, right? If you do it too soon, it could almost crush your business running ads. But you did it at the right time and it scaled when you were ready. Once you had gone through the stress
Yeah.
tests and your business was prepared. So how could somebody know when they're ready to really start scaling the ad?
I think it's all about like get some ads going if you can afford it, and then see how you maintain at that point. Like, does it feel stressful for you to, and it all depends on your product, right? For us, because we were making everything, it just made it harder to keep up with it all. But if you have inventory and it's like, inventory out the wazoo, like, make sure you're making a return on
Yeah.
that ad budget, but and then scale it from there. Like, make sure that it makes sense and that you're all the functions. Because one thing I always would have hated, is you tell people, like, you running these ads and you got all these people coming to your website and they're shopping, and then they're waiting 10 days for their orders, or
Mm.
you run out of product. I think we've had that conversation. I'm like, I don't have enough product, like I don't want to run out of product.
Hmm.
And it was this whole thing of like, oh well, and I'm like, no, I can't run out of product, because I just always wanted to keep my customers trust, and I always wanted to, like, I think I also never want to owe people
Yeah.
anything. So like, if you give me your money, you gonna get your
Yeah.
product. I'm not even playing the games of like, oh, pre-order, or oh well, 30 days here. Like, no, I want to be able to pump you your product. So keeping those sales channels as open as that marketing channel, and like having a nice flow of
Right.
things.
And how did you make it work at Target? Because you're competing against some really big brands that have been on the shelves for a while, right? How are you making it work and how are you competing against
I think it's my customer
them? Hmm.
base. I think the Under Army is really supporting. I think also, because one of the things that we, even now, like, we don't have ads going right now, and it's something that I've been thinking about. Like, maybe we should pop up with some more ads, but the ad world is just so
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
now. But I think it is channels like a Google, that could make sense, in some other channels. But I think, just having that visibility, and once again, that word of mouth, and your community being able to like share the product and tell people about the product. Social media helps, but also like having a great product
Hmm.
is very
And you are
important.
so humble. I'm gonna brag on you because you went into Target. It's a true David and Goliath story. You're not competing against other small mom and pop brands. You're competing against who was it? Was it Dove, Secret, big brands, and you're in the land of giants and winning.
Yeah, I'm really in the land of
Hmm.
giants. Unilever and P&G
Wow.
and Play Pits. It's like, those are, when you see who's at the top and who's at the bottom of Play Pits, it's like only the big brands. And so it is very intimidating too, because they have bigger budgets and they have bigger brand loyalty, and you're in this space where you have customers in some areas, but you may not have customers in Idaho, right? You may not have customers in a certain part of Arizona. And so I think that's when the World Wide Web helps, like, for you to be able to have that conversation about your product. And when people Google it, or they see that you're new on the scene and they see your reviews, they are like impressed by that, and so they take a chance on you. But yeah, we are definitely, it's one of those things. I'm so proud to be able to have the opportunity to compete at the level that we're competing. And we just actually entered year 2 at Target, and we're in 390 stores. But it's one of those things that, like, every day I'm just grateful for another day to fight again,
Yeah. And I'm so amazed by you. And we've been so blessed and privileged to be able to talk to you. I mean, you did all the things in the right way and dealt with the adversity. You validated demand. You built the organic audience, the Under Army, and now you're on the shelves and Targets competing with Goliaths and succeeding, right? That's the story that, I mean, all of us could appreciate and applaud you for. Well done, Miss Chantel. You did it.
Thank
And you're
you.
doing it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
Thank
that.
you.
I appreciate it. It's been like I said, it's been quite the journey. So, but if you don't have a true why and y'all just chasing money, don't do it, because it's let me be a testament that,
Yes.
to survive a pandemic, survive a
Mhm.
fire, survive, all the other challenges that we went through. Like, it's no amount of money that would make it worth it, but it's all types of, accolades and that pride that you feel inside when you look at your child walk into a school, walk into a like, we took my daughter to
Mhm.
college, and we went to the local Target, and she was able to walk into the Target and find Play
Wow.
Pits. And to see that smile on her face makes all of the other stuff worth it. And so you have to be that invested in the vision and the brand and the business that you're building to really, go through the beating that you're gonna
Mhm.
go through when you start a
That's what you're
business.
doing. Generational wealth. You're changing
Yeah.
generations.
Yeah.
Congrats. So how can we support you? What can we do to participate in helping you be successful and just to contribute?
Yeah. Listen, shop Play Pits at
Hmm.
Target. Still head to Target. That's one of the things, that changes when you're an e-commerce brand, and then you get national distribution at a retailer. You got to prove that you
Yeah.
belong there, right?
Hmm.
And so we tell our people, like, go to Target, shop at Target. If you're interested in shopping on playpits.com, please shop there as well. And then tell at least 5 to 10 people that you know that have smelly kids, or they have smelly arms themselves, which everybody does, and want to test a natural deodorant that is amazing, that's natural, and that makes you feel good and smell good. Go ahead and tell people about it. So I would say shop Target, shop playfits.com, and tell 10 people about it.
That's wonderful. And you helping with the smelly kids too. You're helping parents teach and with the kids. You got a new course coming out, don't you?
Yeah, we got a new course
Yeah.
coming out. I'm so excited about the course. It's basically teaching healthy hygiene to kids, keeping, kids happy and creating healthy habits for the children. Because as parents, I'm a mom, like, I know that it's not easy to teach those habits. So this is just a supporting course to teach the same things that you've probably taught your kid, take a bath every day, wash your hands, but just in a fun and from someone different than yourself. So this is a supportive course that we're really excited to launch.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Chantel Powell, everybody, CEO of Play Pits. That's it for another episode of the Alea Systems Journey to an 8-Figure E-Commerce Business podcast. If you enjoyed listening to this episode, please leave us a review. It costs you nothing and gives me and the folks who worked hard to produce this episode great feedback on how this content helped you. And that's why we do this, to make sure that you get to that 8-figure business even faster than we did. So tell us how we're doing, and please, please, please leave us a review. And if you know of another e-commerce entrepreneur who could benefit from hearing this content, please share it with them. They'll thank you for it. I'm your host, Emmanuel Lea, and we'll see you in the next episode.